Hi, I am ThatPaulGuy, and it's Thursday. It's Thursday, September 19th, 2019. That's 91919. Okay, yeah, good deal. Anyway, so we're going to start out with space news. India is still trying to communicate with their lunar lander that they sent up. About 2 weeks ago, they lost contact with it right as it was in the process of actually landing. Everything was looking really, really good up to that point. They're not sure what happened. They lost all communications, all video, all everything. They're hoping that it did go ahead and successfully land, but since that time, they've been trying to reestablish communications. It's near the south pole of the moon, and the reason why this has become such an issue now is because they're about to go into sunset and to darkness as the moon kind of rotates out of the way. Even though we see the same side of the moon all the time, the sun sees a different side of the moon constantly, and so that's about to get dark on that side, and they are afraid that there won't be enough power to be able to juice up this lander to be able to communicate with it if they can try to find a way to reestablish communications. So it's a thought that it might be completely lost, and that's a very, very sad thing. It's the second attempt they've made. They did have one that crashed, I believe, earlier this year. They are not going to give up, though. They're going to keep putting them up there. This time they got very, very close, and we're not sure it did not land. They just they haven't been able to establish any kind of communications, so we'll see how that goes. In China, they managed to launch a group of 5 satellites this morning on one rocket near the Gobi Desert. It's going to become a part of a constellation of 34 satellites that are high-resolution optical type satellites. They're communication satellites in a way, but it's going to become one constellation of 34 satellites that they're set up for measuring stuff like moisture, vegetation, atmosphere, and stuff like that, so they can get a better idea on the actual, the Earth's atmosphere and situation, stuff like the actual environmental conditions and all that, to see how things are changing, what's going on, what kind of stuff is going on over Asia. So I believe they started launching them in about March, and this is another 5. So before too long, they'll have that full network of 34 satellites they'll be able to use, and they should be able to get some pretty good data out of that. SpaceX is getting ready to launch their Starship. It will be from their facility in Boca Chica, Texas. Now, they did the Starhopper test there, and they are building the rocket that's going to be called the Starship that they will then launch. The first test will be up to 74,000 feet, and then it will come and it will land there at the facility itself. It will actually land on the pad that the Starhopper was using, so that's pretty interesting. They have decided now that they're going to expand that facility, and so what happens when a noisy neighbor moves in? Well, that neighbor just goes up, buys all the property, and expands the area. So they're going to expand that facility, make it bigger, and that's more than likely where a lot of those launches are going to be for the Starship when the time comes. Elon Musk is going to have an announcement on about the 28th. We mentioned that a little bit before. On the 28th, he's going to lay out his plan for what's going on and what he's doing, and hopefully we'll find out more then, including dates and stuff like that. But good job for SpaceX, expanding all over the place. They're launching from California and Florida, and now they're going to be launching from Texas too. In technology news, 1 week. That's all it took, Apple. 1 week. Last week I was singing your praises because the Apple 11 looked like it was a great phone for a great deal, and everything was positive. And since it's launched, all the reviewers are saying the same thing, that it really, really looks like a solid phone, great price, and they're very, very happy with it. They don't really have a whole lot to say bad about it, except for you had to want to go and try to copyright something or trademark something that you want to push on somebody or everybody. If you're trying to take a slow motion video from your Apple iPhone, Apple wants you to call it a Slowfie. And they're trying to trademark it or copyright it or however you do that with a phrase. But they're trying to make that all Apple's all the time. They want that to be Apple's phrase, that you're going to be taking a Slowfie from your iPhone. So all it took was a week. I was singing the praises last week, and now I'm just totally disappointed in them again. Who knows? But in good stuff, the company Oracle, they make software and some hardware and stuff like that, and computer systems. They have developed a supercomputer. And you're thinking, well, there's a lot of companies that develop supercomputers. IBM, all that. Yeah, of course. Well, Oracle, I believe, even has their own supercomputers. But this one's made out of 1,060 Raspberry Pis. No, not the dessert, the Raspberry Pi. The small little computer that's made on the Python programming language, Raspberry Pi. The one comes for about $30 that you can buy a kit at your local electronics store like Micro Center or Fry's Electronics or whatever, or order from Amazon. Yes, you can order a small computer for about, starting at about $30 and up. And Oracle has made a supercomputer out of 1,000 of these. And when asked why they did it, they simply replied that Raspberry Pis are cool. So that's why they made it, because it's cool. So great answer. I mean, that's cool. I mean, right up there with bow ties and fezzes. Raspberry Pis are cool. So you can make your own supercomputer. In gaming news, starting today, that's September 19th, 2019. Yeah, we established that already. Starting today, you can buy a SEGA Genesis Mini. This Mini comes with a chargeable USB, comes with HDMI, comes with 2 wired controllers, and comes with about 40 games. The games including stuff like Earthworm Jim, Golden Axe, Sonic 1 and 2, Altered Beast, and Toe Jam and Earl. All the classics that you remember, or you might, if you're too young to remember, that give it to somebody about my age, we'll remember. All those classics are available. It's going to be for about $80. I think it retails $79.99 at all your major places. Every place like Target, GameStop, and all that stuff. $79.99. I don't know how long they're going to stay on the shelves, because it might be pretty popular, but starting today, they are on sale. So go and get you some. SEGA! Borderlands 3 players. Gears 5 and Borderlands 3 are 2 highly anticipated games that came out last week. Borderlands 3 players might be regretting that decision just a tad bit, because for the past week there's been issues with their cloud saving. So you go to play the game, and then you go to save it, go off and do something else, and come back, and you realize that none of your progress are saved. Now, in some cases, it's been dozens of hours of progress wiped out, because the servers have just automatically erased whoever's, whatever gameplay or whatever, reset everything back to 0. So it's caused some frustration. 2K Games is aware of the problem. They say they are working on the problem, and hopefully by the time you actually see this video, they will have solved the problem. So we'll see what happens there, but just a little bit of frustration. Just reminds everybody that coming out with a new game, trying to launch a new game is sometimes a little difficult. Things don't go as planned. Speaking of launching in games and game launchers, like how I tied that in, Rockstar Games has become a new PC launcher for all your PC goods that come from, say, Rockstar. The makers of Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption, and all that stuff now have their own PC games launcher. So if you have a Rockstar game, no matter where you bought it from, whether you bought it from a game code, or if you downloaded it, or you got it from Steam, or whatever the deal was, you now have to have, and you now have to launch it through their games launcher, which brings to the total of who knows how many. There's so many out there, like Epic and Steam, and Epic and Steam and Origin and all these other ones. I mean, it just adds to the list of all the different game launchers you have to have for all your different games from EA and everybody else. So it's a mass confusion, but if you have a Rockstar game, you're going to have their launcher. Now, they are trying to buy you off. They are giving you Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the trouble. But still, I mean, come on, we're just adding to it. And I mentioned earlier this week, when I was talking about going over and starting playing PC games, that part of the frustration I had was that all my games are in different folders. Well, yeah, all of my games are on different launchers too. So we'll just have to see what happens. I'll give it a shot. We'll see what's going on and give you a little bit of feedback as we go. But anyway, there's another one to populate the masses. So really, that's about all I got this week, whether it be out of frustration or just whatever, who knows. But that's all I got to give this week, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, folks, you're welcome to share, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave me any kind of comments. Let me know. Do you have games like Red Dead Redemption? Do you have GTA 5 on your PC? Are you going to buy a SEGA Mini or anything like that? Tell me what you think. So, as always, folks, I'll take any feedback you got for me. I love it all. So give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. And remember, bow ties, fezzes, and Raspberry Pis are cool. I'll see you next time. That's all I got. So I'll see you later.